people, those people who are attached to the houses of Allah. And the word that were used in the hadith, وَرَجُلٌ قَلْبُهُ مُعَلَّقٌ بِالْمَسَاجِدِ, a man whose heart is hanged in the masjid. You know, like this chandelier. So when you leave the masjid, inshallah, after Isha, so you leave, but you leave your heart here. Hang your heart in the masjid. So if you left with that intention or with that way, that means you are one of those that will be under the shade of the throne of Allah. May Allah make us all amongst them. Allahumma ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. So one of the things that we need to understand about the Quran, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had made that Quran to be the way of our guidance. And our problems will be solved in the moment that we try to apply what is mentioned in the Quran. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that those people, when they read the Quran, their hearts will tremble, will be shaken. Means what? They will change from inside, and their tears will come down when they pass by any of the verses. Maybe we'll talk about Jannah. And that was the attitude of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So whenever he has a verse, whenever he recites a verse talking about Quran, he used to long for Quran. He used to ask Allah, oh Allah, grant me Jannah. Whenever he reads something about the hellfire, he used to ask Allah to protect him from the hellfire. So that kind of interaction, we said, if you want to talk with Allah, go to Salah. If you want Allah to talk with you, recite Quran. So that's the relationship. Can you imagine a person's or a Muslim's life, and one day could pass without having this conversation with Allah? You know? So that person, Allah said in Surah Taha, Allah said, whoever give his back to my remembrance, he will have a miserable life. That's in dunya. And he will be resurrected on the day of judgment as what? As blind. Then he will ask Allah, oh Allah, why did you resurrect me blind? I was having my eyesight in dunya. Allah will say, that's because you got my remembrance, you neglected, and you forgot, and today I forget you. I forget you. So we had, alhamdulillah, last time, we had a good conversation, bifadlillah, about Surah Al-Saffat. And we said that Allah had started this surah by 3 times making an oath. Number 1, by those angels who are standing in rows, in lines. Was-Saffati Saffa. And those angels are blowing the wind by the permission of Allah. And number 3, those angels who are reciting the remembrance of Allah. And what was the oath for? What was the purpose? Because it talks about the monotheism. Allah making that oath, and he followed this by saying, Inna ilahakum lawahid. And we said, what was the reason for Allah to make an oath by the angels? Because the people of Quraysh used to associate the angels, and they considered them females as gods beside Allah, helping Allah. So Allah said, I swear by those angels who are standing in front of me in rows, in lines, that your master is one. They are not gods beside me. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us a good explanation. And maybe this is the first time you might hear about this, and that might shock you a little bit tonight, but don't worry, we are going to fix it. Allah said we have decorated the dunya, the lowest heaven. We gave last time heaven and skies. You remember this? Yeah. So the lowest heaven, we have decorated them with what? With the stars, the lamps, the planets. And not only this, Allah made the first sky to be حفظا من كل شيطان مارد. And it will be, the first sky, the lowest one, will work as a defensive shelter, a defensive mechanism against every rebellious, evil shaitan. Married. Then Allah said, Allah told us about something, and when you read it, you say, what's going on here? لا يسمعون إلى الملأ الأعلى ويقذفون من كل جانب. They will not be able to have access to listen to the groups of angels, of the angels. And if they did so, they will be belted, will be shooted from every side, every corner in the sky. What does it mean? What we know from the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the jinn kind wanted to prove that they know the unseen. Wanted to prove to whom? To the human beings, to some of the magicians. So they wanted to go up to the first sky so they can listen to the conversations between the angels of Allah. So they might know something. They might know something of what's going on. Maybe one of the angels will say, you know, Newport Richey will have a severe rain tomorrow. So they get it, and they want to spread the word that tomorrow you are going to have severe rain. So they got it from the angels. So Allah said they will never have an access to listen to the group of the angels, al-mala' al-a'la, the highest group, the angels of Allah. And if they did so, if they get close to the first heaven, Allah is going to shoot them with what? The stars. Allah is going to shoot them as a punishment. Let's pause here with Surah Al-Saffat, and then we go to Surah Al-Jinn. Surah Al-Jinn, the jinn themselves, they said, وَأَنَّ كُنَّا نَقْعُدُ مِنْهَا مَقَاعِدَ لِلسَّمْعِ. Before, we were able to stay close to the first heaven so we can listen to some of the conversations with the angels. Before what? Barakallahu feek. Jazakallahu khair. MashaAllah. You see, one shot. Allahu Akbar. Before the birth of Rasulullah, they were allowed. That's why now we can understand Sayyidina Sulaiman, Sayyidina Dawood, the involvement of the angels with Sayyidina Sulaiman and Sayyidina Dawood, because somehow they used to get some of the unseen knowledge that Allah might allow them to have. But they said, after the birth of Rasulullah, فَمَن يَسْتَمِعِ الْآنَ, from now on, who is going to try to listen, يَجِدِ لَهُ شِهَابًا رَصَدًا. You know, what do you call the missiles that attacking? Yeah, no, I mean, what they are doing, what they are using nowadays. No, the missiles, the F-16 and all of, yeah, like the sky rockets and all of these things. So he will get shooting stars right after the birth of Rasulullah. So you might have some of the angels or some of the shayateen, the marada, they will be killed because of they are trying to work as spies on the angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let's go back to Surah Al-Saffat. Allah said, دُحُورًا وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ وَاصِبٌ. that will be like Allah is kicking them out. Duhur, the word duhur, you know, when Allah kicked Iblis out of Jahannam, Allah said madhura. Out of Jannah, Allah said madhura. Now he is kicked out. He is expelled. So the same happens with the shayateen, the marada. Allah said that will work as I'm kicking them out of this space. On the hereafter, in Jahannam or in the Akhirah, lahum adhabun wasib. They will have a severe punishment on the day of judgment. Then Allah gave us an exception. Allah said, إِلَّا مَنْ خَطِفَ الْخَطْفَةِ, except for those who might try to snatch some of the news, some of the words, some of the commands, those who try to snatch some of the commands of Allah to the angels. What is going to happen to them? فَأَتْبَعَهُ شِهَابٌ ثَاقِبٌ. Then a precise, extensive, or intensive star will shoot him immediately. So that means maybe while we are here right now, you might have a shaitan, an evil or a rebellious devil who might try to go up to the sky. Then Allah will send some of the stars to kill him. So now we can understand, now we can look differently to the first heaven. It works like a mechanism, a defensive mechanism to protect the rest of the skies, the other 6 skies. But now the first layer, which is called the lowest heaven, that is the work of the lowest heaven as a shield, as a protection against any devil might try to go above those places to get some of the knowledge. And from the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I will mention this because this ayah was mentioned in Surah Al-Jinn. I will continue about Surah Al-Saffat, but I will give you this as a protection for your aqidah, for your belief in Allah. Who has the knowledge of the unseen?
Allah.
But now, who has the knowledge of the unseen? Can anyone have the access to the unseen? Allah said, Alimul Ghayb. He is the knower of the unseen. فَلَا يُظْهِرُ عَلَى غَيْبِهِ أَحَدًا. He will not expose that unseen to anyone except those that Allah had chosen amongst the messengers. Since we do not have messengers now, so that means no one has the access to the unseen. So if you have somebody who's claiming himself, let's say Sheikh, scholar, Imam, Maulana, Mufti, and he told you, okay, Brother Muhammad, I can make hijab like ta'weed for you because that will protect you. Do you believe him? No. He's a scammer. Lots of people, even back home in our countries, and you might know lots of people, that's their job, to scam people, to steal their money under the name of that they know the unseen. You go and ask them, what is going to happen next year? He will tell you, Allah will give you more rizq. On the month of July, you are going to hear bad news. Why? Who are you? Are you one of the messengers? Allah told us He will just give some glimpse of the unseen to some of the messengers, and the messengers already had delivered the message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So who you are, it's just for you. Don't believe anyone even if they told you 100% of the past information right. Imam, he told me the name of my mom. How come he knows the name of my mom? Imam, he told me about the other apartment that I have back home. He told me this, he told me this. He must be right. Those are fake people, and the magicians are dealing with the shayateen. So they can get some of the past information to mix it with some predictions from the future. He gives you like 6, 7 of them. One of them you must get it. He will tell you, oh, you will get sick. Okay. You know what? You might buy something new. So if you get a new iPhone, oh, that's what he said to me. So he gives you like general things. Oh, you might have a wedding in the family. Yes, in the family. And when you get some of those, you start believing them. And then you refer some of other customers, you know, under the name that this man has taqwa of Allah, and those are scammers. Don't believe them at all. Follow only the book of Allah and the sunnah of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that's it. And that's it. Okay? So Allah said, إِلَّا مَنْ خَطِفَ الْخَطْفَ, except those who might snatch some of the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will get the severe the punishment from the shooting stars. And then Allah gave a question, a rhetorical question. And Allah asked the Prophet to ask that question. But let me ask you, I will give you the question and you tell me. Rasulullah was asked to ask this question to whom? Allah said, فَاسْتَفْتِهِمْ أَهُمْ أَشَدُّ خَلْقًا أَمَّنْ خَلَقَنَا. So, O Muhammad, ask them, are they stronger than what I have created? Or they think that they are stronger than them? Who will be more stronger? I have created the angels. The angels who have wings. The angels who can fill the horizon, fill the space. I created heavens and the earth. I created mountains. I created oceans. I created all of those things. So do you think, do they think that their creation is more complicated than my angels? So to whom Rasulullah has to ask this question? To the people of Quraysh and Mecca. So I have created those angels. Then Allah said, Inna khalaqanahum min tinin lazib. Allahu Akbar. Allah said, I have created them, the people of Quraysh, the human beings, from a sticky mud. It's nothing. From a sticky mud. Do they think that they are more stronger or more powerful in their creation than the creation that I have already created? Means the angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Allah said, Bal ajibta wa yaskharun. Oh Muhammad, you might wonder, but they will mock. They will make fun of you. وَإِذَا ذُكِّرُوا لَا يَذْكُرُونَ. If you wanted to remind them, they will not be reminded. So now, let me stop here. Sometimes you might have a family member or a friend of yours, and you give him the reminder, and nothing happens, nothing changed. Nothing happened to him. So you start feeling what? Bad. You accuse yourself. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I didn't give the proper reminder. Maybe. So Allah wanted to tell us, some people, Rasulullah, now we are talking about the best of the messengers, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah himself will give the reminder, but they will not get it. So is it the fault of Rasulullah? No, it's not his fault. So some people, like you read in Surah Al-Baqarah about some of the hearts. Summun, bukmun, umyun, fahum la yubsirun. Right? And you have Surah Al-Baqarah. ختم الله على قلوبهم. Right? Allah had put the seal of the darkness over their hearts, so they will not listen. So it's not the fault of the one who is giving the reminder. Sometimes you give long reminder and people will not take it. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. And that's why if you read deeply, like wanted to know the meaning, Surah Al-Kahf. What is the beginning of Surah Al-Kahf? لَعَلَّكَ بَاخِعٌ نَفْسَكَ عَلَى آثَارِهِمْ أَلَّا يَكُونُوا مُؤْمِنِينَ. Are you going to kill yourself in grief, O Muhammad, because they didn't believe? Some of them will not believe. So Allah said in another surah, فَلَا تَذْهَبْ نَفْسُكَ عَلَيْهِمْ حَسَرَاتٍ. Do not waste your life. Do not waste your energy for them because you feel bad for them. Don't do this. Don't do this. Then Allah said to Rasulullah, إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ. You will not guide whomsoever you want. It's only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So وَإِذَا ذُكِّرُوا لَا يَذْكُرُونَ. After this, وَإِذَا رَأَوْا آيَةً. If they saw a miraculous sign, يَسْتَسْخِرُونَ. They will make fun of you. They will make fun of you. And now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us how they are thinking. They will say to Rasulullah, أَإِذَا مِتْنَا وَكُنَّا تُرَابًا وَعِظَامًا أَإِنَّا لَمَبْعُوثُونَ أَوَ آبَاؤُنَا الْأَوَّلُونَ. This is what they said to Rasulullah. Oh Muhammad, do you want to tell us that after we die and we become like bones, decayed bones, us and our forefathers, our ancestors, are you telling us that Allah is going to bring us back to the life? So that reminds you of what? The end of Surah Yasin. You remember? The end of Surah Yasin, when Ubay ibn Khalaf came with that crushed bones and he made it like sand and he brought it to Rasulullah and he said, أترى يا محمد أترى ربك يبعث هذه العظام بعدما رمت وبليت؟ قال نعم ويبعثك ويدخلك النار. And Allah, he said yes. He said, oh Muhammad, do you think that your master, your Lord, is going to bring these bones after I crush them? And he said, yes, he will bring you back to the life and he will throw you into the hellfire because he denied. So now Surah Al-Saffat is a continuation almost for the same message of Surah Yasin for those who denied the message from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And remember, we are talking about a Meccan surah. A surah was revealed before the hijrah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But let me, before I conclude that lecture, let me ask you. When we talk about the qudra of Allah, sometimes when we say those people who doubted the qudra of Allah, they doubted the qudra of Allah in the issue of resurrection. Do you think that we have Muslims nowadays might doubt the qudra of Allah? Yes, some of them. Maybe it's not particularly to be the resurrection issue, but maybe other things. Let me give you an example. Allah said, وَمَا مِن دَابَّةٍ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا عَلَى اللَّهِ رِزْقُهَا. Every dabba, you know dabba? Any creature might put a feet on earth and hit the ground, except Allah had made it obligatory upon himself to give it its rizq. its sustenance. That's all. وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ وَمَا تُوعَدُونَ فَوَرَبِّ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ إِنَّهُ لَحَقٌّ مِثْلَ مَا أَنَّكُمْ تَنْطِقُونَ. That is in Surah Al-Zariyat. Allah said, your rizq in the sky, in the heavens. Your rizq will be determined by Allah. So some people became so materialistic, became so attached to the dunya to the point that they became so hypocrite to the human beings because they thought by hypocrisy they might get more rizq than what Allah had destined for them. And they forgot that the only one that they need to submit themselves for is Allah, the owner of every rizq, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So some people, they messed up with Allah in terms of how they appreciate, how they look at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why Allah said, وَمَا قَدَرُ اللَّهَ حَقَّ قَدْرِهِ. They did not respect, they did not appreciate, they did not give Allah the deserved appreciation as He deserved to have. Some people are doing this. So the people of Quraysh 14 centuries ago, in 2023, you still have, and those people were pagans, polytheists, and you have still some Muslims, they stand in salah, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ, but they still have some corruption in their aqeedah towards Allah. Allah said, وَمَن يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. Whoever will have the full trust in Allah, whoever will depend on Allah only, Allah will be sufficient to him. When you say that to somebody nowadays, he will tell you, Imam, I want something to hold in my hand. What that? And I gave example before. Somebody wanted to find a job to his son. And wallahi, that's a real story. So he went to somebody, his connections. So he got a card, like a personal card, a business card from somebody in a high position. And the man said, give my card to those people and they will hire your son. So for 3 days, his son is asking him, Dad, did you get the card? He said, don't worry. The card is here. He will be hired. Trust me. His wife asking him, do you have the card? Don't worry. The card in my pocket. And one night before the interview, his wife took his shirt and put it in the laundry. She washed it. So the next day, the son, while he's going, he said, give me the card. He said, there is no card. He said, half hour for the interview. You know what the father said? He said, now say, Ya Rab. Now say, Ya Rab. That reminded me of those people who went to the ocean, and then the boats and the waves were so high, and they were sure that they are going to die. So they made the dua to Allah. Oh Allah, save us from this. Oh Allah, if you saved us from this, we will be amongst the righteous people. And then Allah said, فَلَمَّا أَنْجَاهُمْ. Oh Allah, just this one. Those people, sometimes we have our kids, they have exams. The only time that I have lots of calls of this type, Imam, make a dua for us. Imam, make a dua for us. Yes, okay. What about the rest of the year? They don't text the Imam. They only text the Imam by the time of exam. And they are nice to their parents by the time of exam. They are good to their parents. They are asking them for their dua by the time of exam. Subhanallah. And Allah said, فَلَمَّا أَنْجَاهُمْ. When He saved them, إِذَا هُمْ يَبْغُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ بِغَيْرِ الْحَقِّ. They came back to do the corruption on earth. May Allah guide us all. Allahumma ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Jazakumullah khairan, barakallahu feekum. Inshallah, we are going to continue tomorrow. Inshallah Rabbil Alameen. Surah Al-Saffat. It's a great journey, actually, with the Quran. I personally enjoy, I feel myself in the gardens of the Quran, moving swiftly, nicely, from one rose to another, from one flower to another. Get some smell from this ayah, another smell from the other ayah. Alhamdulillah. May Allah keep us attached with the Quran. Jazakumullah khairan. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.